and I'm here today with my friend Jen from Studio 24 in Wanaka. We thought we'd take this opportunity to chat about Jen's dahlia collection that she has bred and is about to release to the market tomorrow night. We know Dahlia Mania has taken hold in New Zealand. We've seen the DMs pinging around between our friends in the flower growing community, and we just thought it'd be nice to talk about the process Jen goes through to breed her dahlias and a little bit about some of the flowers in her new collection. So I want to thank you all for your questions. We quickly realised that if we answered them all today that we would be here for a very long time. No one needs to see our faces for that long on camera. So we will make sure we answer those. If you enjoy this video today, let us know, and we may be brave enough to record a second one, maybe. Otherwise, we will answer them in our stories or in a post, and we'll make sure we tag you so you get that information. But thank you for taking the time to do that. So today we're going to focus on Jen's collection, and I'll hand over to Jen to give you a little bit of background as to how she got started in growing and breeding dahlias.
Awesome. So with growing dahlias, I initially started with the varieties that we quite commonly see in our gardens nowadays. We didn't have a good amount of stuff coming through from the market that was of high quality. It seemed to wilt really readily before it got to us because we're so far away from our market, and so that's why I initially started growing. And then from that, I obviously, when you start growing something, or those in the gardening industry, we kind of research it and find out about how to do it better, and I found out that you could grow from seed, and from seed it doesn't come back true to its parent plant. So from
which blows my mind.
Yeah, it's like, amazing.
Most seed you in the garden you would find comes back the colour and same form.
So, yes, same form.
But dahlias can be completely different.
Yeah. So yes, from there it was more, what can I grow that will be good for the wedding industry, which was something that I was heavily involved in. So that's where the breeding sort of side of it has come into it. So
if I want to start breeding, where do I start? What do I need to do?
So it's pretty simple.
Okay.
It's pretty much collecting seed from your dahlia seed heads. So what happens is, for us, a lot of our dahlias, we let the bees do the job. They cross-pollinate by going from one plant to another, like with the majority of other types of flowers. They do their thing, and then the seed head develops. If you're wanting to go a little bit more in depth and cross-pollinating with specific varieties that you really like, what we do is use an organza bag and cover the flower head before it starts to show any pollen, and once it's ripened enough for the pollen to be ready to be taken off one plant and transferred to another, we do that. We use a paintbrush and take the paintbrush and transfer the pollen that way, and then we recover just so that the bees don't come back in, and then you get other pollen from another flower, and then you end up with not what you're initially kind of hoping to get. So you never obviously get the same plant again with seed, but you get certain attributes that kind of seem to be more dominant. That's why we breed that way.
So if I do want the same plant, like I've got a tuber or a plant in my garden that I absolutely love and I do want to replicate it, is there any way I can do that?
So with growing from tubers, you can multiply your plant stock by growing for a season, and then they produce more tubers, divide that and plant that out. Or the other option is to take cuttings from these, which is also quite a simple method. They grow initially, and then you just
makes it all sound simple, but it's not.
Yeah,
she's got green fingers.
Not today.
So do you look for a particular criteria in your parent plants? What are sort of some of the attributes that you want in a dahlia bloom for you personally?
Yes, so with what we really like to have is good strong stems. Being in the floral industry, having flowers that kind of unsteady and easily knocked off, that's something that's not desirable. So that is probably one of the main things that I look for is having a really good strong stem.
So no bobbly heads,
No.
people.
You don't want to swing it around and then the flower fly off. So, so that, along with it, repeat flowers quite quickly. Some plants don't keep coming back as readily as you'd like. You kind of cut them back, and then they take ages to kind of have another bloom come on. Whereas there's certain varieties that do; they just keep going and going and going. The more you cut, the faster it seems to come away. So that's definitely one attribute as well. And obviously it's got to be beautiful. But as we know, most dahlias are, so it's not hard.
So I've harvested my seed, I've sown it and got my little seedling in the ground. And then how do you decide which ones are going to make the cut to year 2?
So with that, it needs to have obviously all those attributes that I just discussed, and then tuber production, health of the plant is another thing. It's really, really important for us, having healthy plants that kind of pest and disease resistant, because that's something we all want in our gardens. We want flowers that you can look after themselves. You're not having to baby them and kind of just mollycoddle them along. And then obviously tubers, you want to be able to store, and they don't rot or shrivel up or whatever, and then you've still got plenty to pop into the garden the next season. So.
And how long is this process? So it's made it through year 1. And how long until you're able to share these or introduce these flowers to the public?
So with what we do, it can be up to 5 years. With most of them, it tends to be around the 3-year mark. They're nice and stable, and you know that they've repeated that process year after year, and it's
so you've grown them for 3 years, and so year 4, I might get to see it.
Yes, yeah, and then that goes out into the world, and hopefully those who grow them get to enjoy them as much as we are. So.
And how do you come up with the names? Because is it somebody special, or is it because of the form of the dahlia?
So with how we name them, I do have some that are named after some special people in my life, and also my fur babies. I've got some of them.
Good to see a Wilma slip in there, and maybe a Maeve too.
Yeah. There's no Bruce yet though.
No Bruce.
No Bruce. We've got a cat called Bruce. No Bruce yet. Maybe next year. And then obviously there's some that have, like I've got one called Cream Bun, and it is literally looks like a cream bun. So that's, and then there's obviously some of you who are possibly watching this have suggested names, and they've been used to name our ones that are coming out this season. So yeah.
And I know this is like asking you for your favourite child, but do you have some favourites in this collection you're releasing?
Yes, yeah, definitely do. There's some that just have kind of stood out to me. Joanna, which is a gorgeous kind of buttery, creamy sort of tone bloom, which she just keeps flowering and flowering all summer long, and lovely long-lasting blooms as well, which hold well for wedding work. Another is Samantha, which is named after my gorgeous daughter, and she's very much like Sweet Natalie, a little bit pinker, but then she has like little petals inside the petals. Not every bloom is like that, but a lot of them are, and it just kind of, that draws your eye in. And then Lizzie, which is just this gorgeous, tall, long-stemmed lilac water lily, which is named after my late mother-in-law. So kind of reminds me a little bit of her, a bit of elegance. So yeah.
Nice. And I am going to ask you this question because I love knowing everyone's favourites. If you've got favourites, please let us know, or let me know. Do you have favourite named varieties that you grow year after year?
Yes, yeah, definitely have some of those as well. So Coralie is probably one of the ones that is quite up there on my list. It just pumps out the blooms. It's so robust, it stores well. Another is Cornell Bronze, which is the gorgeous rusty toned ball. It just seems to kind of, I always get drawn to it whenever I see it flowering in the garden. And then I've also got the likes of Sheer Heaven and Silver Years, which are both water lily, and I know you grow them, Sarah, and they're just incredible. They just kind of, they fit so well with so many different colour palettes, and Silver Years was definitely probably one of my hardest working dahlias this season. It was just grateful that
our wedding florist that we supply here, it was one of the first to bloom and definitely was still pumping right to the frost at the very end. So yeah, it's amazing. Some have completely different production levels. Now, in your collection, are there some dahlias that are better for cutting versus putting on a show in the garden?
Yes, yeah, there's definitely a few that are more just leave them in the garden, let them do their thing and show off, which tends to be more the dinner plate varieties. Like, I love them, but obviously with what I do for my work, other than growing and breeding dahlias, with the wedding and event industry, you need the blooms that hold well and have longevity. So, but then the more that your water lily, your decoratives and pom-poms seem to be a much better kind of variety for cut flowers, but there's so many of them these days, and it's kind of hard to kind of list off which one is the best because there are so many beautiful ones. But yeah, there's definitely a contrast in the two. The ones that you just quite happily just pop in the garden and it just shows off, and you just, whenever you walk past, you get enjoyment from it. So yeah.
Well, I guess if you've made it this far, you probably want to know how to get hold of Jen's dahlias and what the process is for selling her tubers this season. So when are they going on sale?
So our tubers go on sale on Wednesday the 22nd of May and at 7:30 p.m. So we won't be releasing all our stock at that time. We're just wanting to err on the side of caution, just because we've got to store them all winter for you and then divide and ship them off in spring. So once we're divided, we will release the remainder of our stock. So if you do miss out on Wednesday night, then perhaps you have a chance to kind of get in our second release of the sale. And if you don't manage to get any tubers, really highly recommend growing from seed, because you never know what you get. So yeah, they're quite amazing. Quite a bit of a Christmas surprise or something like that.
I always think of growing from seed as being a bit like a lolly mixture. You never know what you're going to get, which is quite fun if you've got the space. Well, thank you so much for listening to us talk all about dahlias. And if there is anything else you'd love to know, please let us know, and we're happy to answer your questions. We hope this was useful, and good luck out there with all the dahlia sales. I know there's a lot of growers within New Zealand that will be sharing their tubers in the coming weeks, and I hope you get lots of lovely varieties for your garden. Thanks for watching. See you.
Bye.